Hi, friends. So, today we're going to be reading I Am Spring. I Am Spring is written by Rebecca and James McDonald. That means they're the authors. Remember, the author writes the words. So, while Miss Shy reads I Am Spring, I want you to be thinking about all the different characteristics of spring. So when I say think about the different characteristics of spring, I mean think about what makes spring spring. What are the things that you can tell are spring? So if you go outside, how can you tell it's spring? While we're reading this book, listen to the different ways we can tell it's spring or the different characteristics of spring. All right, let's get started. I am spring. I am spring. After the cold of winter, I'm the season when the sun starts to slowly warm up the land and everything begins to grow again. Flowers open and show their bright colors. Animals and insects come out of hiding and new life is born into the world. So, I think I heard a few characteristics right there. I heard that one of the characteristics of spring is that it comes after winter. Another characteristic of spring is that you see lots of flowers opening or blooming. Another characteristic of spring is that lots of animals and insects come out of hiding. Let's keep reading. One way that people can tell it's the first day of spring is the light of day lasts as long as the dark of night. This is called the spring equinox. During spring, each day, the sun rises a little earlier and sets a little later in the afternoon, making the days longer and brighter. So, another characteristic of spring is that the days are longer and a lot brighter in the springtime. Brighter weather means the dirt is warmer, so seeds sprout and push their way towards the sun. Spring is one of the growing seasons when seeds grow into vegetables that can be picked and eaten. So, another characteristic is a lot of plants start growing in the spring. High up in the sky, when warm spring air mixes with cold ocean air, it causes bursts of rain showers, watering the land and helping things grow. So there's another characteristic that it rains a lot in spring. Bees and other insects come out of hiding and visit flowers for a sip of sweet nectar and a bite of pollen. Many birds that flew away to avoid the cold winter return for the warm sunshine of spring skies. When birds travel to far off places for better weather and more food, scientists call this migration. So remember, we learned about migration in the winter time, how in the winter a lot of birds migrate south to where it's warmer. So now that it's spring, the birds migrate back to where they used to be. As spring warms the land, the sound of birdsong fills the air. Birds chirp, tweet, and trill, calling out to meet one another and to claim the areas they want to live in. So when the birds come back from migration, now they're looking for mates that they can have babies with, and they're also looking for places to live. Spring is also the time for building nests and laying eggs. While birds are high, frogs and toads are down low, laying eggs in ponds underneath leaves and sometimes even carrying eggs around on their backs. There's plenty to eat in the warmth of spring. So, because everything is growing and it's very warm out, there's a lot of things for different animals and bugs and insects to eat. No lack of food. Spring sunshine and the smell of growing food wake up sleepy animals that rest during the cold months. So remember when we were talking about winter, we were talking about how lots of animals like to hibernate and go to sleep for the cold months. But now that it's spring, those animals that were hibernating, like this bear was hibernating in his cave, now they're coming out, they're waking up, the hibernation is over. With the warm sun and lots of food, spring is the perfect season for babies to grow. Bare branches on trees begin to sprout new leaves, and some will also grow blossoms. Blossom is another way of saying flower. A gentle spring breeze moving through the blossoming branches can make it feel like it's raining flowers. Who here has on their block trees like this that have lots of pretty blossoms on it? I know a lot of places in Baltimore has trees like this. Maybe you guys can take a walk and see with your parents. Plants like trees are very helpful with keeping the air clean. They remove pollution through their leaves and catch dust and other floating particles with their branches and bark. With all the new growth of spring, there are lots of plants to clean the air.